It was good, people. Just a quick one to catch up with you guys on my way to the stadium. And the first thing I want to touch base with is this game actually isn't going to be shown in China today because Chinese sports channels have refused to show the game based on Mesut Ozil's comments about their mistreat of ethnic minorities, especially Muslims. Now, in my opinion, he's well within his right to voice his opinion about people being mistreated, just as anybody else has. I know there's this thing about the free press and what they're allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say. Part of the reason why I don't really agree with the Rwanda sponsorship. Players have to voice their opinion. Not enough of them do. We call for players to speak their minds about all these things that happen around the world, about discriminative remarks and racism and all this stuff. We want to hear from the players. And then when you do, certain countries don't like it. Well, you know what? That's tough as far as I'm concerned. He's free to say what he wants to say, and if people don't like it, that's their choice. They're going to miss out today because on that channel, Arsenal's got a huge following in China. So as far as I'm concerned, their loss. On the match today, Manchester City come into London. Well, if they win today, they'll be the first team to ever win 3 away games at the Emirates. No team's ever done that. And listen, although they've lost 4 games this season, which is as much as they lost all last year in total, I think this one is going to be a difficult one for them to lose because Manchester City have won 10 out of their last 11 games in London against London teams. So for them, they're pretty much used to winning down here. I think the only difference is Aguero is not playing, and he always scores against us. So the fact that he's not going to be around, John Stones isn't going to be in defence. You know, and a lot of people are saying Arsenal's going to do well and this is Freddie's chance to shine. Yes, it is Freddie's chance to shine, but I think the difference is when you look at it as a whole, structurally, Manchester City have good balance, regardless who's playing for them or not. They've got a good tactical balance in their team. Every player, whether they're good or not, knows their role. So for me, I'm still going with City 2-0, just based on the fact that these guys are so well structured and they know what they're doing. And in order to beat them, we've seen Norwich do it, we've seen quite a few teams do it, but they were punching well above their weight. It was a cup final for Norwich. When was the last time you saw Arsenal play like it was a cup final? Not even in Baku did they play like it was a cup final. So I think the last game that I saw these guys run their legs off was against Valencia in the semi-final of the Europa Cup. That's the last time I saw these guys work as hard as they possibly can. Haven't really seen it this season. Seen it in spurts, but not really seen it consistently. Looking forward to hearing a team sheet, and I'll get back to you as soon as they drop that. Speak to you soon, guys. Obviously, Bellerin didn't make it, but Pepe did. So we've got Guendouzi and Torreira, who are going to be playing as both of the holding midfielders. Then we've got Ozil, we've got Pepe, Martinelli and Aubameyang as the front players. In defence, we've got Chambers and we've got Socrates at centre-back, and we've got Maitland-Niles and Klasnach as your right-back and left-back. And guys, Smith Rowe and Willock are going to be on the bench. So it's going to be a little bit of a nice change-up. My concern is always going to be defensively, but we'll have to take the rough with the smooth in this one. I think from Ljungberg's perspective, I have been saying in my previous videos about the lack of time that he's had to actually coach the players and work on the tempo, which has been a big problem for Arsenal, and because how much time that we don't have together with the players, that he wished that he could have had at least a few days on the training ground with the players. Right now, it doesn't seem like he's getting that, and he's voiced that today, and it is frustrating because Arsenal have quite a lot of things to work on. But as I said in my previous video, they've been in the film room doing a lot of studies, looking at their shape, taking notes, and obviously going through the previous games that they've played and the mistakes that they've made and what they need to do and what not to do. And that takes up a lot of time, and they haven't had much practice sessions to go through. So it's a little bit of a shame, but it's nice for Freddie to voice what I already knew was going on. So it's hard for him to fix it. So looking forward to the game. Again, still going with the 2-0 scoreline for City. But I'm hopeful, because he's gone with a progressive team sheet. I'm hopeful that we just play for the badge right now and them guys play for Freddie. So we'll see what happens at half-time. Catch up with you guys then. Peace. Okay guys, just a quick one. Half-time, Arsenal are losing 3-0 and we've just been outclassed, outplayed. We haven't made it any easier on ourselves because we're just sitting off City and giving them tons of space. City are not really even trying to play. They're being compact and they're really letting the game come to them, and they're sitting off Arsenal, waiting for Arsenal to make a mistake, and they're just getting them on the counter-attack and they're just blazing past Arsenal. They're cutting through them like butter. We're not challenging them, we're not closing any spaces, our shape's bad, we're not closing anything down, and unfortunately it's the finishes. The two finishes from De Bruyne have been absolutely world class. We're witnessing one of the best players in the world here who's putting on a show at the Emirates, and that's just really cutting in deep to the problems that Arsenal are already suffering. Look, I've said this before, I'm not going to stick the boot in on Arsenal. They're really struggling right now, they're suffering, their confidence is at an all-time low, and the win at West Ham, which gave them a nice little lift, have only really made them come back here and then just get a complete hiding by City. And City ain't even in third gear, to be honest. They're just sitting back, they're fresh, they're not even trying. They're just letting Arsenal capitulate in front of them. And this goes to what I was saying previously before about Freddie Ljungberg hasn't even had that much practices with the players. He's been doing a lot of film study this week with them, and going into the Christmas period, again, he said, I would have liked to have had more time on the training ground with his players, just to make sure that we've got our shape and we've got our tactics right, and they can't even do that. Hey guys, let's chalk this one down as another loss. But you know what? I like the fact that we ended up with 4 players who were under the age of 20 on that team against last year's champions. And that was really Freddie sticking his 2 fingers up to the squad saying, look, if you don't want to pull an effort, then I'm going to get the kids in and do a number. And we knew that when he put Smith Rowe on for Ozil. And that was early, that was after the 60th minute. So after an hour, Freddie was just like, I've had enough. If no one's going to get the message, because they weren't moving into spaces, closing down and working hard. And I said, look, I said we were going to lose this game 2-0, and it's been more than that. But what I said I wanted to see more than anything else was a performance. I wanted to see players playing with desire and dying for the badge, running around with urgency. And I also talked about the crowd getting into it and supporting this team, which is in a lack of confidence. And you know what? The crowd came alive in the 70th minute when all the kids were in the midfield. We had Sacco, 18 years old, Smith Rowe, 18. We've got Niles out there. We've got Guendouzi out there. We've got players like Martinelli, again, 18. It's just a young team. And the way the fans came alive and started supporting it, that was one of the best 20 minutes of play I saw between the 55 minutes to 75, 80 minutes mark, where Arsenal just came alive and they looked like a completely different team to what we've seen of late. And it was just the fact that they were working harder off the ball and they were running forward into spaces on the ball, and that's what you want to see. And sadly, this team that has been made up of people who just have failed. Emery, I get it, man. Put these kids on there, let them do a number, and let them show you the effort that they need to have in order to represent this football club. And for me, that's really it, guys. That's what I want to see moving forward. Chelsea's at home here next, and God knows what we're going to see in that game. But listen, keep experimenting with the team sheet and putting in people who give a shit, yeah? Keep doing that, because you're going to get a much better output and result. Today, it was just too big a mountain to climb. City never really got out of second gear. Just the 2 world-class finishes by Kevin De Bruyne and the assist. They just looked really laid back, and they just let Arsenal make the mistakes, and then they got them on the counter break, and that was really it. That's how City won this game. They didn't even work hard for it. So that's it from me, guys. We'll touch base later on in the week and we'll revisit what happened today. But that's really it. Outclassed, low confidence, and that's the scoreline for you. Speak to you guys later, man. Peace out.